Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rob Potter here on the Victor of Light radio show. And I'm welcoming my soul sister, Celestine Star. And I had her keep her glasses on so we can have her fancy glasses, but she can take them off if she wants. So I just wanted to start off like that. And I think, did I meet you at Lorien Fenton's or did I meet you in New Mexico as well? Were you at the New Mexico conference some years ago?
I wasn't in New Mexico. Was that Laura Fenton? Yes,
You were at Conscious Life, right?
that's right.
Yeah,
Conscious
so we
Life.
saw each other. We've known each other for a while, and then she came to my conference last year, and she filled in as MC on the spot. I was so happy and delighted. She is a cosmic mystic, sister of light, and I'm honored to have her coming to speak at my conference this year. She also has a booth, and she's going to be MCing again, formally for me. And I wish to thank you. It's Doctor, isn't it?
Dr. Celestine Star.
There you go. Tell us about yourself and how you got started. You're new to my listeners in your cosmic mission on the Earth, and I want to go into very positive stuff. We have all this negativity. I just did a show with Laura and Michael Jaco. We're just, all censored. So this is going to be all love and light. We're going to get into the spaceships behind your head and the whole thing. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to welcome you into my world. My world is very filled with galactics. At a very young age, I was, from the time I was born, raised in a metaphysical family. My mother was Egyptian. She has Egyptian and Native American background. So it was there was a lot of esoteric arts, magic with a K. And so I was brought into the arcane hermeticism, alchemy, esoteric sciences, astrology, astronomy, all of those. I was pretty much awakened by the time I was 5 in working with uh, energies that you see into the inner dimensions, being able to move out of my body into other dimensions, along with the grouping of people who are parents, guardians, I call them. Um, Worked with a group of guardians that were very advanced intellectually and their abilities to move from one dimension to the other. So I thought this was pretty natural. Working with the elements, by that time, I was pretty aware of fire, water, earth, air, and ether. So at the age of 6, I had a near death experience. And I happened to go through the light. It was magnificent. And I was met by 2 celestial blue beings. I call them blue beings. They're still with me today. And they were my guides in a realm where, angelic beings were flying, moving around. It was very, active. And I was taken into a place where I began to review my life. So you see everything at once. Once that was finished, I entered into the Godhead. It's a very important thing to remember with me as I bring you into my life. This was my natural state. I went into the full, those that say don't know and those that know don't say. So the closest I can get you to this moment was the Godhead. So I was told that I would have to return. I literally said no, not leaving, and was shown my life purpose. And at that time, I said yes. So that brought me back at 6 years old into a body, and I was fully awakened. I believe that I was using all of my DNA because the information and all the things that were moving around me, and it caused me great stress because I could predict what somebody was going to say, where they were going to go, what their lessons were. A little bit too much information for a 6 year old to try to act like they were normal in society in 1950s,
Hmm.
So we had ended up from Alaska at that time to New Mexico, where they were testing the atomic bombs. And at that time, turning 7, they dropped, I believe, 10 at one time. There's some research I've been doing on this, but what it did was it ripped the sky in two. You could literally look on one side, it was perfectly black, and there was nothing going on, no stars. The other side was the normal sky in the daylight. So I became aware, and you have to remember, I'm fully engaged. Information is coming in at every moment. The first thing that began to happen after this occurrence, and believe me, it stayed, the sky stayed warbling for over a week in repairing itself, going to Native American powwows, or called the conference of all these different tribes, and they danced the ghost dance for the first time since 1836 when they banned it in some time. So at that time, the first occurrences were these huge saucer-like ships, that would just appear. And if you're driving on a freeway with those old Studebakers and Fords, they would just stop the cars, and the device would go across, the craft, and miles wide. I mean, it filled the whole sky.
So the car would you would stop the car, or
No,
the
the phenomena of the ship being in the area would
right?
shut off the
Yeah. Okay.
ignition while they were driving.
I had that experience. They gave up King's house. I drove up to his house, and the car battery went off, and I had just put the brakes on. And yeah, they do that kind of stuff. That was unintentional, but I think
This was definitely, well, no, it's a part of the phenomenon. It's the X factor of the ship itself. And so they would just go by, and everybody's out, and we're watching, and parents are really kind of like not speaking. Everybody gets in the car, and they drive off. The engines start back up again. So that was like kind of seeing the first of the spacecrafts. Um, my stepfather, who always felt he was akin, he kept saying he was a Martian. Yes, okay. He followed one. He decided to follow one on the freeway, and we were driving, and we didn't realize he was actually following a ship. It was so far in the distance, and he caught it, and he just followed it, and we kept saying, "Where are we going?" And he drove for about a half hour before, and it actually landed
where was this?
in New Mexico, Almagardo, up above Almagardo.
Wow.
So we're all in the car, literally the whole family, and he decides to follow. It lands, and as he parks a distance away from the ship, instantly we are all inside the ship.
Oh.
And we're all in a room, and then we're on the tables. So it's like boom, boom, boom. So because I'm awakened metaphysically, there's other beings in the world, you're used to spirits and things. I wasn't afraid. They were the tall grays, long arms, 3 to 4 fingers. My brother was in terror, and my mother just was very silent. She never forgave my father, my stepfather, for that.
So you guys all retain your memories of that.
I retain my memory.
Does your mom still
And
remember?
she passed away, but we became a family of skywatchers at that moment.
Uh-huh.
From that moment on, we watched the skies.
What happened on the table?
So on the table, they told me they were examining. They spoke to me telepathically, and I understood that the occurrence of the splitting of the sky caused them to come in to see what was going on, and what they discovered. And they told me they didn't want to harm me, but they had to investigate. They were checking. They were examining our species, and to see if what was going on with us, because we were eating poisonous toxin with DDT. I remember having opiates in my cough syrup, and of course cocaine was the soda of the day. And so we're children made up of this chemical makeup that wasn't normal to our base. And so I just took it as that. I wasn't offended. They gave me full memory. They didn't blink me out or anything. And pop, we were back. We were back where we lived when after we came off of the table. There was no memory of getting in.
Wow.
We
You
were
don't
just
remember
back
driving home or anything?
No memory of driving home. Just we were home. We were just the car was not too far from where we lived, and so nobody spoke. But it was kind of the beginning of recognizing other beings. And so when I heard the nonsense,
Did you guys talk about it afterwards, or?
oh, he joked, see, I told you I was a Martian, and he was so proud of that. And we just knew that was ridiculous, but, these were not Martians for sure. We didn't get into a deep family discussion. Our family wasn't like that. There wasn't a lot of children did not talk. I was very strict and disciplined, and
Mhm.
we did our studies, and like that. So
Well,
it continued on. I continued on with my life.
can I
And
interject here? I want to say something.
yeah,
There's lots of different grays. There's lots of different reptilians. In fact, my friend Louis went into a base, the Great White Brotherhood. There's a cave in Olampu, and right around where there's a heart-shaped rock, there is a Great White Brotherhood base. And these are Earth people who've kind of evolved, and they live a very kind of monastic, telepathic, silent life. They don't eat much. They're kind of almost in the fifth dimension. They're still physical, but they have.
they live in more than one world.
And
Yeah.
when he went down there, there was a great. He's guided telepathically, and he was came upon a gray. He said he was a little startled, but the gray stood up and smiled and waved him past. He was kind of like a guardian to let people pass. The government since closed that off because some people have gone missing, gotten lost in the caves, and he would send them back. So not all grays. There's the little Isani, and those beings are totally light workers. They look like the grays, but they're a little different. And
Yeah.
then there's the hybridized by the reptilians grays. They're like they're super soldiers, and they're the ones doing abductions and stuff like that. So
The little ones, yeah.
there's
They
very,
have the insect group mind type thing. Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
which
Yeah.
isn't necessarily bad. So I just want to preface that, and I also want to say I think it's pretty amazing that you retain full memory from very early age, probably from your genetics and your
The near death.
mystical experiences that allow you to have that thing. I mean, I've always had out there experiences, and I'm always looking for real hard physical proof, which doesn't always come. So this is fascinating. So go ahead, continue.
So, yes. All right. So, trained as in shamanism through an Arapaho medicine woman who felt while my parents were over guardians doing the council room and the dances, she taught me the medicine wheel, the way of the medicine wheel. So that opened the field of the star people, and we often talked about the star people, and she gave me some very rich and rewarding information about that. How to lay out the medicine wheel to to the sky or to the earth, and I've carried that with me and done medicine work. So time goes on, married to a special forces agent, had a child, and he eventually became flight chief over Edwards Air Force Base. Um, and during that time, uh, he became aware, and it found it very difficult uh, to manage being at the place of world command and being security over these different contingents, even that which is outside of the government. And it came to understand that this was a place where there was an interface between on planet and off planet intelligence. So I was taken to view it, and you can listen to Linda Morton Howe's dissertation. We did a 3-year study before I presented it. I said I would not really speak about it again, but I did get to be close to a reptilian, not of the great kind, of the non-beneficial kind that makes the hair go up on your neck. But I was in a deep, deep six, security place.
So so he was allowed to bring you in as a family member. That's pretty rare.
He was not allowed to bring me in.
Oh, so how did he get you in there?
It was a day when it was I guess a armistice day or some day of uh,
Military was gone. Most people.
well, it was a day of festival or something, an armed force uh, exhibit day, and But anyway, I got to take pictures of the space shuttle, and the way he did it, I didn't even realize that what was happening. I mean, we kept it so quiet because, going into, first out to see, oh, we're going to go to the space shuttle on the tarmac, right, which was restricted, and that was definitely a restricted area. And then slowly, oh, park. Oh, I got to go in for a minute. Come with me. And then going down the elevator and going down the corridor, and just kind of signaling me to look in this window. And there was definitely like a 6 or 7 foot, alien. It was a reptilian for sure, and the face, the body, the structure,
You have the rough
claws.
exoskeleton.
Yeah, the claws, and yeah. So anyway, with that, it worried him so much that the secretiveness that he said, we need to get out. And we were visited by what I call the Icemen.
What?
And it was when they left, one particular person who had guards. And when they left, I knew that our life was in danger. And I said, "What are you going to do?" And he said, "I'm going to get us out." So he did write to the Pentagon, and they initiated to release him of duty. But he got a few other people out because they didn't feel that it should be kept from the public.
Good.
And plus, it was the most dangerous thing in the world. Like you could see that these beings did not love us on any level. There was no, and the apparatus that it had on, I later understood that they can't breathe oxygen. And that's the only thing that kind of saved Earth from really being taken over by this race of beings because, they were more in a more radiational, nuclear waste atmosphere. And so I used to think, oh, when Chernobyl goes off or what's going on in Fukushima, they're setting it up to put more radiation in the world, which could really put us into a deep trouble. So eventually he was out. They never let him go. Things happened. He lost a lung. They gave him things that would make him die, but he lived.
Oh my God.
And so I was the wife of, so I've seen the dark side. I've seen the side that's like science and health. And then eventually, we separated, and I ended up in the high mountains. I was shown to go up to the high mountains.
Can I ask how he is now? Is he?
He passed away, but
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, he forever. I tried to get him to speak, took my camera. I said, "We're going to do this," and he said, "Do you want your daughter to die?" And I said, "No." And that's why I know a lot of these whistleblowers are usually, active agents, and don't let them fool you because they never let you out. And he says, I said, "No, I don't want our daughter to die." And he said, "Okay, then
I'm not talking.
I'm not talking." He said, "There's no conversations on this planet that are not heard." And, you have to remember he was at World Command. And he says, "I'll give you a code." And he gave me kryptonite. And so I pass it on to anybody who's doing research on those levels. And he says, "So what you have is a group of people that have off-planet capabilities already, and so a lot of their attitude of not caring about the rest of society comes from their ability of knowing that they would survive. They would be
Their
able to
genetic hybridization, that's been shut down now. A lot of people find it controversial, but Kim Gogan has made some tremendous things, and United Nations, IMF, World Bank, none of them get funded. So we're talking a little bit about the dark here, and
Oh, I'm getting ready to jump to the
no,
light.
I know, but I said it's
Yeah.
really good that you lay the foundation of what your background and history is. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, so I've really been inside the Dragon's Cave, and so then later I was guided to the higher mountains, and there I found the most beautiful. It was like going back in time, back into, literally you felt like you were in another time slip, and it turned out to be the place where the High Spiritual Council has one of their places. Somebody said, "Oh, you're going to go to the Lumerian treasure chest." Little did I know, crystals,
Where was
gold,
it?
silver. The Mayacan Mountains, the Mayakama Mountains up north in California, and spent 15 years there. I ended up so integrated. You see the sightings, you go, oh, that's interesting. That doesn't look like an airplane. And then, of course, you see, a tractor beam come up, catch the jet, let it go down into the earth, and then it's gone. And eventually, they land, and we started playing fun games of, I hike here, you land behind me. I hike over here, you land in front of me. And so eventually we began to know each other. And I found their buildings, there was architectural pyramids. This was a grouping that had been there before the floods. And they began to teach me telepathically, and eventually they began to appear. I call them the Immortals. They could phase in and out, humanoid type beings, Tylee Poe, Yessi Shoujo, Babaji, just goes on and on.
That,
But
that's. I was looking. I thought I saw it, Mount Saint Helena. That's near on the outskirts of Napa.
yeah, we'll go up a little higher, go Calistoga,
Okay.
and then you'll see the Mayakama.
Yeah. I just checked. I just looked it up because I hadn't heard of the Mayakama. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
And so, you know, my little 5 acre walnut farm turned into the temple, and I had the medicine wheel, and we used to take people into the 980 acres of prime Miwok Pomo Vision Quest land. And I started coming out less and less, and I started spending more time in the forest in my pure state, and I turned into a yogini. And I got down to almost a breatharian. So I was pretty, and that thing about, just raising your frequency in your meditations, I feel is really effective because I really had a lot of visitations. And so brought me into, there's a pyramid mountain, we call it a pyramid, they call it Dog Mountain, but inside is the chamber, the council room. Ships would come and go, stargates would open. It's still very active. There's an underground existence. And they told me 10,500 years ago, there was an absolute decree, no more interference with the human shape and form, the signature form of humanity. So I learned a lot. I was doing trance channeling of Meso, keeper of the books of the Seventh Council, and have lots of recordings. We have Metatron, Cryon, all of these were channeling through me, and just bringing information just to a small group of us. I didn't step out. I wasn't Ramtha, didn't want to go public. So I have all this background, and I started doing light group meetings and bringing people out to do Skywatch, and they would appear for hours. You could look up into the centrifuge of these anti-gravity ships, some of them large, some of them small. And from that point on, it was probably in 1986 I was up there, and until the 2000s. And then they said, time to go down the mountain. So my daughter was pregnant. I said, okay. So I closed up the farm, and I came down the mountain, and I'm kind of here with you. I stayed hidden in the forest for a long time because it wasn't okay to come out and speak. When I gave the light group meetings, we were very, very quiet. There was so much information coming from Russia, coming from Czechoslovakia, coming from Germany, all parts of Europe, all parts around the world, concerning, the Majestic 12, Blue Book projects, all this. And so I was getting firsthand, Dulce the Dulce base where they were doing genetic engineering. So I was really, really up on, all the things that was predicted for the end game, with the scamdemic and all the stuff that's going on here now. And so my part was to hold the sacred circle, keep the vibration high enough so the interface between the star people and the humans could then be initiated. And so I've held that space for now 40 years, and I continued to do it. We started the Galactic Earth Council in 2010, And so we've had 11 years of Bay Area, contingents. People fly in from all over the world, but they come to the Skywatch and they would actually get to meet the star people in many different ways. Sometimes it's 100 dragonflies that would fly around you and then disappear. Sometimes it's a hologram that would be an airplane that was split into four and then back into one, circle around, and working with the brain synapses to break the brain barrier against all the programming. And so I have a lot of things I'll be showing at your event. I'm so excited to come and bring some videos. And what they're telling, the gift that I could say now is humanity is coming to an awareness, and they would love us to open to the understanding that we do not have the technology to manage the Earth. The Earth's electromagnetic field is modulating. There's a possibility that it could flip its poles. We don't have the equipment, we don't have the know-how, we don't have the understanding. They have the understanding for this. They built the pyramids. They built a lot of these structures that you're seeing, which were actually to balance out different areas of the Earth. They showed me, even when I was 15 years old, they showed me that on the 15.5 parallel, which is where the North and the South come together, there is a modulation of positive negative. It doesn't stay one formation. And so they placed the temples, and at the time when the Earth was one continent, they placed the temples on the 15.5 to balance it out. And nowadays, separation of all the planets and the continents. Nowadays, you have the wars fought along that 15.5. Most of the wars in the world. So what they're saying is, we're moving into a place where 70 years of this reverse consciousness, these few that want to play their game. And what they're saying to them is, the dangerous game is that you don't know what you're doing. And Earth is moving into a sector of time and space where it needs to have balance and regulation of the energy flow of the Earth, and they can help us. So we can see the buildings of previous workings to help balance the Earth, and they're there to do it again, but they cannot step in. They're remodulating their craft because of the 5G that's going on, which is actually can be amped up to 6G if our leaders decide. 6G is the level of weapons, and their crafts, some of the crafts from the Galactic Star Federation, have to deal with, upgrading and changing it so the microwaves will not affect their crafts. But they're really happy to be here. They love us. They never left. There is so much joy when they're excited because the time is coming to be with us. And I'm excited every single day because I have that connection with me on a daily basis. And they're really saying to open the field to what is being offered. Advancements in medicine, advancements in transportation. They're speaking about tachyon as communication, ways of using communications, free-flowing, healthy energy for communication, and not the deadly microwave. So there's lots they're ready to give. And I'm just excited to be a part of the Star Nation. I've been across the river and I've come back, so I'm here as an ambassador, emissary, and the heavenly realms. Hallelujah.
Yeah, that's great. It's a wonderful. I'm glad I heard more in-depth information about your stuff. And can you tell people about your website?
Yes, the website is the Galactic Earth Council.
.com.
Yeah, very simple.
GalacticEarthCouncil.com. Folks,
Yes.
by the way, I'm going to share the screen because I wanted to make a little announcement here. For those of you who are thinking about coming to our Mt Shasta Summer Conference, I wanted you to be able to go to her link to buy your tickets. You know, I don't really want to mention my website, but I want you to see this is the link you're going to get. And on my page, I don't offer any discount. There's a small discount. I offer this for my speakers to promote. So go to galacticcouncil.com. We're having the event here in Mount Shasta. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff here, but you have places to stay. The other thing I want to say is right in here, campgrounds. You might have to use this option. Lake Siskiyou. You're going to want to get
Great place.
places. Stewart Meadow Springs, all these places. So for some people who can't find in Mount Shasta because it's going to fill up. Our conference has got 94 sold tickets. I got 26 speakers and about 25 volunteers that are required. So we've only got about 60 or 70 tickets left. So I'm going to encourage people to come. So these are the speakers. We got Raymond Keller, my friend, who's going to be releasing 4 books, including kind of lost gospel. I can't talk about it now, of Christ. Alex Collier, Laura Eisenhower, myself, The Crystal Skull. We have Celestine, Brad Olson, Sandra Ray, or Sandra Michaels, I'm sorry, and Lowell Johnson, who went inside the Telosian from Mount Shasta. He's not a woo-woo. Celestine and I are woo-woo people for a long time. This guy was simply a meditator of TM, had heard about stuff, and he ended up going inside Telos. They said because...
And I don't want to say woo-woo because, you know...
I know, but for a lot of people...
It's more like wow, wow. That's who we are. We are the wow, wow of the earth. We are the saviors because if we don't, guess what happens?
Right.
I'd rather be a woo-woo than a FUD. That's all
You can call us earlies. We've woken up a little earlier than everyone.
Thank you. Earlies. I like that.
Yeah,
Earlies.
we're earlies. We woke up early and we recognize our thing, and everyone else can too. We're focused.
Oh,
This
they are. Yeah.
Jane DeForest will be doing readings. She took your past family members or other guys who or your guys who have your family members who have died. Michael Jaco, Maureen St. Germain is wonderful. Dr. Scott Warner, and of course Shakina Rose. She embodies the fifth dimension. The women are really taking charge, folks. Celestine is very calm and versatile in her metaphysical understanding, and she has this kind of dual citizenship and understanding the mechanics of the bad guys. Tony Rodriguez, the secret space program guy, and of course the beautiful Suzanne Ross, Frank Chili, a friend of mine, amazing guy. Wait till you hear him talk. And we've got a local girl here named Jamie Lou. She does fifth dimensional. This is a new girl that her name is Vivian Chavez, and she claims to be a hybrid Octurian. And when I met her and talked to her, that's a big statement. A lot of people, we make big statements, and I really sense something real here. I've learned not to judge so much. Dennis Adams is like Celestine. He lived in the forest, was like naked for years. Masters were appearing to him physically. And he was quite a famous healer in the 70s and 80s. He's quite an organic farmer. Lori Spagna, of course, Brooks Agnew is coming. This is a girl from South America. She wanted to come last year. She finally, we got that commitment going, and she is Peruvian. She worked with Louis Martens and had many. I met her in Cusco a couple years ago. She was showing me spaceships that had landed over the thing, and she told her friend, "Go over there." And he was like,
"Go on over, yeah, go say hello."
He was a little afraid. And then this is Willard, an amazing.
Willard, you did it! Yay!
Yeah, he's so great. So here is. I want to show you the vendor. I want to show you, folks. This is for vendors, but I just want to show you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
This
is Rob Potter here. I'm at the venue. I'm at the back of the Mount Shasta City Park Summer Conference Hall. I'm going to show you here. That's the entrance you're going to be coming into. We have other entrances, but
so that's what I wanted to show you. We're entering in the back, folks. We only have one entrance in the back, but 4 exits if you need to leave. So that summer conference, you saw the speakers. So once again, I want you to go to galacticcouncil.com.
Galactic Earth.
Galactic Earth Council.
Yeah.
galacticearthcouncil.com, and purchase from Celestine's link. Um,
Oh,
so, Celestine, thank you so very much. It's been a wonderful show. Um, we're going to do a little longer, but you wanted to keep it a little shorter, so we're almost at 45 minutes. I want to thank you for coming on. Do you have anything else? You're going to be creating some sessions, right? You're going to be doing
yeah.
live.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm free flowing. We don't have to cut it off.
Okay.
First of all, my talk is the unified divine presence on Earth, so that will give you a hint of what I'm going to be speaking of. But one of the most important things is that they gave me an encoded method, encoded transmission on how to connect with your galactic origins. So we call it the Go Session of the Galactic Origins. And for those, we'll be able to offer just a few of those because I'm going to be emceeing. But when I have time, it's a 1.5 hour journey back into the first time you came to Earth. And
Wow.
I
Okay.
just I
So,
just performed one today. So imagine that we connect you to your primal awareness, and then we take the journey through time and space in your Merkaba, all the way to the first time you came. We connect in with the timeline. You see who you are, what your skin looks like, if you're male, female, androgynous, all the details, your family, your kin. Are you by yourself? Are you a leader? What's going on? And did you come to colonize? What does it look like? It's very deep and emotional for people to actually connect with their kind, their kin. And then from there, we look at why did you come? Did you have a contract? Are you on a mission? Are you a meteorite? I mean, how did you get here? Hundreds and hundreds. You can't put it up. And finally, it takes you back to where you came from, and that is the opening of divinity. I mean, most people, you came to Earth on a mission, and sometimes you're encased in a certain form, but when you go back to the mothership or you go back to a dimension, you may go back to a dimension of light, or you may go back and find yourself as a humanoid that was a shapeshifter. So that is very fascinating. I've done hundreds and hundreds, and then we connect you from your divinity, that which is who you really are, and connect you to your earth self. And it's like, do I want to be a guide to my earth self, or do I want to integrate? And some people do the full integration, and there you see the alchemy of the philosopher's stone. So when you see somebody's divinity integrate with their humanness, and you recognize that the creator is now, we've got the Holy Trinity. So that's some powerful workings. I'll also make myself available for a little bit of celestial activation, where you can come over and talk to me about your experiences, and maybe I can answer some questions for you. I do little 15-minute interaction with people. So that's what I'll be doing. We'll have our booth. We sell our book. Here's our book here. Let me just show you our little book.
you grabbed a book out of the clouds.
I did. Did you
Oh,
see?
there it is. Yeah, I have that book, folks. It's great.
Yeah. So that's the Galactic Earth. It's the story of our Galactic Earth Council, how we came to be, how they are. They wrote their stories. There's pictures in there of the real deal. It's like they gave me the truth of truths. So I put it there for all of you to see, the starships, to see the ones that fell out of the sky.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see there,
Yeah, I have to
but
put it in front of me.
I
Yeah.
saw them. Yeah, there's some tremendous displays there. And so I'd like to ask you now, Celestine. We're doing a Skywatch on Wednesday night. We're going to
Yeah.
have Raymond Keller, yourself, Alex Collier, and I'm asking for those who are connected to come up. We'll maybe do a little meditation. We can offer a couple words, maybe a little prayer, and
Yeah.
and bring in the vibration. That's what Louis does. Is you work with a couple days, and they come over and work on the bodies of the participants, whether it's in Bolivia or Peru at these sacred sites, and the kind of reward which people like is the light show at night. It's some people don't need it. I don't need it, but it's really fun to know that all these things we've been talking about, they're gonna lend their support by some obvious visuals for people that have wanting to come and have that experience. So I'll be happy to have you up there on Wednesday night. We're going to start
Yes.
exactly at 9. All this information will be sent out in emails with your tickets. So we're
Yeah.
going forward here. I got a lot to do in the next 65 or something days. So
Yes, indeed.
yeah,
We might even have something like this beautiful starship, stacked one on top of the other, present. So hopefully they'll be there. I'm talking to the Galactic Earth Council. I'll be with my group. I'm bringing some of my groups are flying in, so you'll have some of the council members there on the 26th. They're going to be there, and then we're going to go out to see Shasta that night. So I invite you to come also with us to our little
on the 26th at night.
at night. Yeah,
That's
we're
our
just going to go up
that's
to
our Skywatch night.
not our Skywatch. It's a Galactic Earth Council Skywatch. I have some people coming in from Oregon and Michigan.
Oh, okay. So you're doing a Skywatch on Wednesday night too?
Not Wednesday,
On Thursday, I mean.
Thursday.
Okay, that's the night of our Skywatch. You want to meet your group and have them join our group on the mountain
I could.
on
Yeah,
Sandy
I could.
Flat?
That's
Okay.
right.
So
We'll follow you up. But that's, yeah. So I just let you know my group is coming.
yeah, we're planning for people to be there at 9.
Okay.
We're probably going to do a lunch break or a dinner break
Dinner.
from 6 to 7 or something, or maybe even 5, and hopefully people will get up there at 9 o'clock. I'll have some people standing by the road with lasers, and then we'll.
Well, that's good because it was a little trying to find it, but believe me, we had a great time at last year or the year before the COVID, and yeah. So I'm really looking. I'm glad you're doing it on the same day because I was just going to do a little quiet gathering of our group because they really. I've had some people that have been wanting to meet me for a long time. So
If
they're
you want to
actually
do that, like maybe
buying tickets.
if you want to have your group join you at 8:30 for your private thing, and then still a little light, but
Well, we always start. The thing that our group does is we start at dusk because they're able to come out and show themselves in a way that you can see very clearly the ship, or if it's a hologram, and they do different things to, as I say, help to move the synapses, open new pathways, neurological pathways, so that as the night falls, you're already in the zone.
yeah, maybe we'll come up at 8:30. I guess maybe we'll stop, or I haven't made the schedule yet, but
Yeah, it's easier to find your way and park
it's actually dark at 9, so that's when we'll probably be settling for between 8:30 and 9, and then 9 o'clock. We'll
to kick off.
we'll probably do it. People can stay as long as they want. Some people like to stay up all night and drum, and who knows what people are going to do. So that's
Yeah.
about Shasta Summer
Good.
Conference.
It's an agreement. Yay!
The GalacticEarthCouncil.com. Thank you, Celestine, Dr. Celestine Star. It's an honor to have you on the show again, and